Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. This is the Get Right Fantasy Network with me, Mike, aka Classic Mike. We are finally back, baby. It's week 1 of the 2024 season. I'm excited. Today is our active and inactive show with me. I will be going over news since our Friday show. Then at 11:30, and or when news comes in, I got a bunch of news that we just got before I came on. And then, we'll give actives and inactives at 11:30 for the 1 o'clock games. Then I'm also going to give you guys some, DFS value picks right after the actives and inactives. If you have any start sit questions leading up, make sure to put them in the chat. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. We also have super chats for immediate responses. So, but go ahead, drop your questions. I'll get to them as we go. Be sure to include your league size and the type of PPR scoring you guys are dealing with, and I'll do my best to give you the best answer I can. Right now, we have a new schedule for those that are new to the show. Make sure you guys check out our schedule below on the banner. We have shows every night. We're going to be back tomorrow on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific with Rasta and Frank. They're going to go over some overreactions to, it's our Overreaction Monday show. So a little bit of overreactions from this week. I know that we've already had, 2 games already, and we got a bunch of overreactions, which is fantastic. Tuesday, we have Tycoon hosting the Fantasy Boardroom. He will be on at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. And then we have our Wednesday show with Rasta and Frank. They're going to be doing our roster management and trade talk show. So they're going to be discussing buy, sell targets, hold, people to hold, things like that. Then check out Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time with Phil. He's going to be hosting the Extra Point leading up to Thursday Night Football. He's got a lot of great stuff out there. Make sure you guys are checking him out. What up, Wicked? How you doing, man? Mike Hype. What's going on, brother? Hope all is well. Then we got our Friday show, 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern with me and Kendall. That's going to be part 1, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be splitting it into 2 this year, make it a little bit easier on everybody. So we're going to do half on that show, and then the other half is going to be with Phil and Rasta at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you check that out. That's going to be our start sit show. We also have, of course, myself on the Sunday morning show at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be here every Sunday, actives and inactives, start sit, questions, quality DFS, casual DFS lineups, but also, give you some of those value picks that I found. All righty. Time to roll our sleeves up and discuss some news since this Friday. I mean, we had a really fun game on Friday night in Brazil watching Green Bay versus Philly, and Philly took over 134-29. Had a bunch of greatness in this game from both sides of the ball. First, we'll start with Philly. Philly had, of course, it hurts with Saquon. Man, he is special behind a really good line. Had 3 TDs and over 130 purpose yards. AJ Brown and Devontae were heavily involved. AJ got a long 67-yard touchdown. Did really well on the day. On the Green Bay side of the ball, we had Jaden Reed go off with his 2 touchdowns and 160 all-purpose yards. Jacobs did okay, not great. He held it together. Still got 16 touches for 84 yards and 2 receptions. 2 receptions on 3 targets for 20. So he was involved in the passing game, which is fantastic. The big news is, of course, Jordan Love. He's going to be going, he went down with 5 seconds left in the game. It looked like a high ankle, but now they're saying it's an MCL. He could be, right now, it's probably going to be anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks. I might aim towards the 6 weeks if you're trying to prepare, just, to be safe. So you're better off maybe trying to find a better option at this point. Whew. So hopefully that works out. Some injuries that we're going to be focused on prior to actives and inactives. The big one is T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. As right now, we have Higgins listed as questionable game time decision with an illness. It has changed to illness on Saturday. He seems to be coming down with no contractitis. I think that's what it's called. I hope it's not contagious, of course. But wow, I'm dumb. He did practice in a limited status all week, and he mentioned the fact that he would play even without the contract. But right now, it's likely he's going to be limited during the game if he plays. Right now, he's out on the field practicing. He's out there warming up with everybody. What's going on, Wormy? Had to say hi. I know you texted me. A little hard to get back to you while I'm doing this. And then we also have good old T. Higgins. He tweaked his hamstring on Thursday, so we'll see. I don't think he's playing at all. He's doubtful. Just automatically assume he's not going to play. So we'll have to see how this goes. This was another big news, and Worm's bringing it up. Thank you. He goes, "How do you feel about Tyreek getting slammed to the ground today by police?" Yeah, he was pulled over for a traffic infraction. He will be there. He's good to go. He was probably really excited to get to the game today. So yeah, he got pulled over this morning. His agent came on, said he's going to be good to go. So I'm not too worried about that. We got George asking Javonte or Brian Robinson in the flex non-PPR. Non-PPR, I'm going to kind of move towards Javonte. I like his situation a little better. I also like his coach, the team overall. Brian Robinson, I like, but in the matchup that he has, I understand why. Bucks are still pretty stout, at defense. I'm pretty good with rolling with against Seattle in this case. So I really do like Javonte Williams here. Will Hayes goes, if Chase doesn't play, who do I start in my flex? Full PPR, Austin Eckler, Chase Brown, Tyler Lockett, DeAndre Hopkins, or Rico Dowdle. So we did get some information this morning about Rico Dowdle and Zeke Elliott. They will be splitting a backfield. Dalvin Cook is not going to be active today, but they did activate Deuce Vaughn. So in this case, I like Chase Brown a little bit here. Tyler Lockett is dealing with an injury. DeAndre Hopkins is also dealing with a torn MCL that he's been dealing with since the end of July. For me, I'm probably gonna go with the one guy that I like a little bit more, which is Chase Brown here. Austin Eckler could be involved a little bit going against the Bucks. Right now, Bucks are a 4-point favorite, which could lead to a lot of check downs. I do think that Jaden Daniels kind of limits what Austin can do, just because of the concept that he's more of a mobile quarterback that can get out and rush it himself if need be. Hopefully he'll learn better. But at this point, Chase Brown, I think, is probably the better choice here. Jessup, what's going on, man? How you doing? Welcome to the show. If you haven't already, if those are watching, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the show. Like I said before, underneath we have a ticker of our shows. We are going to be here pretty much 6 to 7 days a week. So make sure you guys check us out and all the content that we have. So Spears or Gus Edwards, full PPR. I might lean Spears just because of the full PPR. Gus isn't really involved in the passing game as much. So Spears, in this case, his floor might be a little bit higher. In his particular matchup today, he's going against the Bears. Bears are favored by 4. In this case, I would assume that if they're behind, they're going to have to throw it a lot. The team seems to be more of a passing type offense than they were with Derrick Henry. So I'm going to lean Spears for this one. Andreen, what's going on, man? He goes, what up? Another year. Let's go. That's right. I cannot wait. I'm excited right here. Wicked going. Tyreek going to have a Scotty Scheffler type day, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hey, man, that would be amazing. Crazy to see it in the morning. So we got Josh. What's going on, brother? He goes, start Caleb or Dak. My 16-man PPR team is Dak, Caleb Williams, A-Chain, Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, David Njoku, or Tank Dell. Nice. So for me, I'm probably going to be leaning more Dak. Dak is. You drafted all your teams. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the teams that you guys drafted for these, you expect these guys to be your starter. You definitely at this point you drafted Dak to be your starter, and Caleb to see what happens. The Titans are a okay defense. They're not great. Bryce Callahan will do what he can to, make it work. They do have a stout front with Jeffrey Simmons. I do like him a lot. My whole thing, I think Dak will be just fine. I don't think there's going to be any worry for me at this moment versus Cleveland. I think you roll with Dak, and you have Zeke with, you have CeeDee Lamb with him. So I think you're gonna be just fine in that particular scenario. Worm, do I flex Amani Cooper or Jerome Ford? That's a great question. For this particular offense, I mean, right now you're gonna have Amari going against Trayvon Diggs, who's just coming back from a injury from last year. He had his, I believe, ACL. So you have Jerome Ford, who's also going against Dallas in this case. I like Ford a little bit better, especially if it's full PPR. No, I would pick Amari if it's full. I'd pick Jerome if it's half. But I like Jerome a lot in this particular matchup. I think he will be just fine. I usually lean a little bit more towards the running back because of more guaranteed touches. Especially for week 1, you want more of a guarantee than an unknown. I don't trust Deshaun Watson as much. I think he's not. I think people are hoping that he's 2019 Deshaun Watson. I don't see it. It's been a minute till he can prove otherwise. Amari's an amazing receiver, very talented. I like him a lot, but he might have a tough day against Trayvon Diggs. So for me, Jerome Ford. Harry Schaff, what's going on, man? I love the name. That's great. Make sure if you haven't already, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the show. Demont or Ayuk? This I'm going to lean Demont. I actually had this particular scenario come up in my particular league. I'm going with Demont. Right now, I was going to talk about this in a little bit, but I love when we have these questions. I can just bring it right up. A report came out today that they're going to probably limit Ayuk a little bit. Ayuk is going to be out there, but he'll be limited. So will a limited Ayuk be better than somebody like David Montgomery, who's going against the Rams? The over-under for that game is 52, which is the highest, or 52.5. At this point, that's the highest game total out there. I know that the other 2 games played, but that is the highest game total this whole week. I want everything I can do in that matchup. Not to say Ayuk won't do okay. I just think, with his limited status, it brings him down from what you would be a low-end wide receiver 1 to a mid wide receiver 2. So for me, Demont, he has the touchdown upside. I'm good with that. Patrick Lardio, what's going on, brother? Great to see you back. Glad to have you. Yo, let's go, Big Blue. That's right, my friend. Excited. Yeah, what the hell is going on with Chase? I'm waiting to make moves. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see, brother. I mean, we'll know for sure in 15 minutes. So keep tuned, man. I'm gonna have everything right up to the minute. I have all my alerts on, making sure I got as much as I can. Like I said, he is warming up on the field as we speak. So we'll have to wait and see. Oh yeah, there's apparently He got thrown down, very disgruntled about it. Yeah, the whole Tyreek thing is kind of blown up like Scotty Scheffler a little bit. So I didn't get to see anything. I know that my buddy Worm just sent it to me. I just haven't had a minute to look at it because I'm here to give you guys advice. So Andre, and he goes, rate my team. QB is Caleb. Running back is James Cook, Brace Hall. Love it. Puka, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cup. Okay. Ingram, and then Keenan with Scary Terry. Benches, Terry Benson, Najee, Gus, Joshua Palmer, Xavier Worthy, Curtis Samuel. Hey, man, I like it. I like it a lot. Honestly, it's a good team. I'm a little lower on Caleb. Just rookie quarterbacks don't tend to do well in their first year. Kind of CJ Stroud was the first to be that guy. But at this point, I'm pretty good. I like the whole roster otherwise. The only thing with having Cup and Puka on the same team, I mean, geez. One, I'm wondering if you drafted this team or if this is just a really good dynasty team that you've been working on, because that's insane to have. I do have Puka and Cup on my team, so I can't really say too much about it. But I love that particular lineup overall. Love having Ingram as my tight end. Scary Terry and Keenan, great options. I do like your depth at running back and wide receiver. Both look great. So yeah, overall, I give that a solid B+ to A-. Really good team. Johnny D, what's going on, brother? He goes, full PPR. Should I risk it and sit Burrow in favor of Justin Fields or Caleb Williams? I just lowered Joe Burrow in my rankings, but I only put him down like one spot, really. Without knowing about Chase will be limited if he plays. I'm assuming he'll be a little bit limited. If that is the case, then I feel a little bit better about Burrow. If Chase is out, like completely out, I'm still okay with Burrow because the guys that he's been working with in all season. He had, he had Andre Yoshivas all season. He also had, Trent Irwin. He had Mike Gesicki, Jermaine Burton. He had all those guys. So he's already worked with them. T. Higgins being out, yeah, that kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, he's still working with those guys. He still knows how they operate. They have chemistry. I'm okay with it. It won't be his best game, even though the Patriots are going to be, at this point, probably the worst team that they're facing. They still have a reasonable defense. Their defense is probably a little bit above average, even with, Gerard Mayo there. Still taking a lot from Belichick. I'm assuming, he did play in that system. He knows it. They're making it their own. But they still have solid pieces on the defense. So for me, at this point, I still like Burrow. I'm not a fan of Justin Fields overall. I don't think he'll be anything great. I actually, for defenses, I love the Falcons today. They're very underrated, and I do think that they could give Justin Fields a hard time. Caleb going against the Titans is the only other one that I kind of like, but I feel much better about Burrow than I would Caleb, even though Caleb has better weapons. I haven't seen anything to make me want to feel that way. So we'll see. Hey, we got Kendall in the house going, what up, Classic? First Sunday, let's get it. What's going on, man? We got Johnny D in the house going, second question. Should I bench George Pickens and start Joshua Palmer? I would. I know it's kind of you did draft George Pickens to be your wide receiver 2 or 3. I get it. I don't like the receiving options for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Reason being, for me, George Pickens is more of a 9-route guy. If in my the way that I view him and what I've seen from him. They also, if you guys listen to me in the offseason, they brought in Arthur Smith to this particular offense. We understand how he does and what he did in Atlanta. I looked at all the stats from last year and what they had done with rookie quarterbacks and Marcus Mariota. They do not throw to the wide receiver. They were 32nd overall in passing to the wide receiver. or, QBs targeting wide receivers. Then they bring in two quarterbacks that were at the bottom third they were 30th and 31st at passing to the wide receiver in, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. So both of them don't like throwing to the wide receiver either. So for me, I'm not going to do it. I would prefer to go with Joshua Palmer. I understand that game is a lower scoring game. This particular game, I think, is the lowest scoring on the slate. It's I think it even went down from 40. I think it's at 39.5. But at this point, I rather have that type of production because Joshua Palmer going against anybody from the Raiders starting secondary, I prefer. George Pickens is going to be going against AJ Tyrell. It's not happening for me. So I prefer Joshua Palmer. Patrick Lario, what's going on, brother? He goes Zach Moss or Aaron Jones. Great question. I hate saying Aaron Jones just because it just feels that way. I think Aaron Jones should do just fine. Zach Moss against the Patriots are a lot better I'm telling you, the Patriots are a decent defense overall. They have a solid, line. They have okay running back or linebackers and a pretty decent secondary. I'm sticking with going against us, but I will say we are going to have I would lower your expectations with them either way. I do think the Giants have a better run defense than people think. So it's going to be an interesting day. Adrian Peterson goes, what's the word on Keenan? Is he playing or not? And do I play him? Yeah, Keenan is playing today. He is expected to play. They said that he was going to be rolling out there. He has a heel injury. They said it was more of a cleat injury type thing where, new cleats. So he may, maybe it's just a discomfort. I see him as more of a wide receiver 2 for the team. So I see him as, the possibility of him being like second in targets and things like that. Wait, hold on. Oh, looks like Dak Prescott just got his extension, 4-year, $240 million extension. Fucking Dak. Good for them, though. Good for them to keep those two together. I mean, I was saying it all offseason, man. You gotta make sure you pay your guy, but I do think that this will hopefully move things along with what's going on with Chase. So I'm getting reports that Chase is still out here warming up. I'm told that he has a good chance to be active today. Still no sign of T. Higgins, who, of course, he's not going to play. Just know that in advance. Yeah, Chase said on Friday if he does play, he's going to be on a snap count as per Tom Pelissero. Yeah, I believe that too. Yeah, so they're not going to get to a contact extension for him today. A lot on Tyreek Hill right now. Sorry, just getting a ridiculous amount of alerts, and I'm just trying to make sure you guys get the best information possible, of course. Looks like the Steelers are going to be starting Justin Fields today. He is dealing. Russell Wilson is dealing with the calf injury. They just don't want to risk it, so Justin Fields will start today. Now official. Okay. All right. So we got those down. Sorry about that, guys. So we have Peterson. Yeah, I expect him to play. Do you play him? He's more of a flex play in a full PPR league than he is in like non PPR or half. I would play him more in full than any of the other formats. Patrick goes of Chase can't go Jackson. Oh, JSN or Addison. So if Chase can't go, JSN or Addison, I would probably lean JSN a little bit more than Addison. Tyler Lockett's dealing with a hip injury as well. So right now, I would probably lean that way. All right. Yeah, I would probably lean JSN. So Neanderthal goes, anything on Lockett yet? And if he plays him or Shakir, I'd probably lean Shakir either way, with Lockett dealing with an injury. Going against the Broncos, I get it. But just don't feel the Tyler Lockett thing today. So, yeah. Jackson, what's going on, man? Great to see you here. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you guys do. Make sure you like the show as well. With both Bengals receivers out, pick 2 in PPR. Godwin, Amari, DJ, and Yoshivas. Okay. So I like Godwin. I think Godwin is a solid pick overall. I might even lean DJ more as well. Yoshivas I do like a lot, but honestly, he's a dart throw for you and more of a wide receiver 3 option. I get Higgins isn't going to be there. I do like him as a receiver. I have him all over the place in Dynasty. I even picked him up a bunch in best ball formats. But in this particular case, for like redraft and so on, I'm probably not going to play him in most lineups unless, you were one of those teams that grab Chase and Higgins and you need a guy. Because, usually when you're using that much capital up top, you really don't have a lot on the bottom. So then you would have to go with a guy like that. But I think in most situations, I would be going with Godwin and DJ Moore. No problem, Johnny. That's what I'm here for, brother. Have any other questions, throw them in the chat. That's why I'm here. I will do my best to break it down as much as possible. So Patrick goes, I'm seeing breaking news on Twitter. Chase doesn't expect to reach a deal. Yeah, that's what I was reading before. I was trying to, whenever you see me, if you guys ever see me just like waiting for a half a second and looking over here, it's because I'm looking at every alert that comes through my phone. And I always get a bunch of them, before we get to game time. And I just want to make sure you guys have the best information possible. I use one of the best apps out there to get breaking news for you guys. So I always want to be, I want to get it to you. I want to make sure you guys have it while you're watching me. All right, we got Kendall with a situation here. So he goes super flex, 6-point passing touchdown. I'm between Darnold, Jones, Levis today in the super flex. How do you feel? That's a great question. I don't like Darnold or Jones today. I think they're going to both cancel each other out. I like Levis. I really do. I think his situation is good against your Bears. The only caveat I will put is the wide receiver options for all these teams are tough. And with Levis, I think in this case, Calvin Ridley is going to be blanketed by Jalen Johnson. And I think that's going to be a real tough day for them. They're going to have to, check down a lot to other receiving options that they have there. Treylon Burks might be involved. I know Nick Westbrook-Akine is going to be in that as well. So they might have to do that. Chig is going to probably be involved a little bit more. And Will Levis isn't scared to throw the ball deep. He's got a good arm and he can run the ball too. Jones is probably my second option if I'm ranking these. We'll see what Jones can do today. I think today is hopefully we see something nice and fun. They are at home. They are going to be, this is going to be a really big game for the Giants. They're going to be having their, the stadium's going to be packed. They got the new logo on the field. It's going to be a huge, and they're wearing their new jerseys that that everybody hates. So, I mean, it's going to be a really electrifying game. He would be a really close second. Darnold, it's hard to go. Like, I want to see what this offense looks like with Darnold. To me, Darnold is a cheap man, a cheap man's or a poor man's version of Kirk Cousins. He's not as accurate with the ball, but he's more of a game manager. I see him checking it down a little bit more than people expect. I think a guy like Josh Oliver is someone you should be focused on for that particular game. If you're doing DFS, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I think guys in those underneath intermediate routes that like to live in those areas will do okay in that game. But Jones, it's going to be tough to see. I want to see how the line holds together. I hope they focus a little bit more on the run, the running. I hope they have a good run game to take a little bit of pressure off of Jones, which will then open things up downfield with guys like Neighbors, Hyatt, and Robinson. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to go Will Levis here for sure. So we got actives and inactives for coming in. Texans, no one crazy. It's Cam Akers. He's inactive today. You don't really have to worry about that. I will keep letting you know as they come through. They should all be coming through right now. Saints inactives have A.T. Perry out. He's going to be inactive. Spencer Rattler will be out today as well. T. Higgins is officially inactive. Jamar Chase is active. So Jamar Chase is active. He should be playing. Like I said before, he's a mid-range wide receiver 2, in my opinion, just because of his limited. He's most likely going to be limited. But we already kind of knew T. Higgins would be out. So I see Chase as one of those scenarios where they're going to use him on third down, try to get him a little bit, involved here and there, maybe a deep shot. So Kendall goes, I feel like Levis might run through the air with checkdowns to Pollard and Spears between, deep shots. And if he, sucks, I'll take the big W for my Bears. Yeah. That's the best. Like, that's the only thing you can do. I know it sucks. Believe me, you're having me pick against my, either my quarterback or against the team that I'm playing. And, I always take my fandom out of it. But at the end of the day, I definitely feel a lot better about someone like Will Levis in those situations. So Adrian Peterson goes, is Gus Edwards worth holding, or should I drop him for Justin Fields? No, I'm holding on to Gus Edwards. I want to see what this particular Chargers offense does. So I really want to see that. And I think that if everything is what we think it is, which in this case is it's going to be a run-heavy offense, I think Gus is definitely the main guy. He is the guy that they're going to go to. So I want to see how that offense runs. I want to see how the line goes, how they're going to, incorporate Justin Herbert and how the passing game is going to go. I want to see the whole offense against the Raiders. I think it's a good test for them, even though the Raiders aren't, the best defense in the league. They are still a decent defense. They have really good pieces everywhere. They have Christian Wilkins, who can really clog up the middle. So this is a good test for them, because this is probably going to be one of the better lines that they face all season. So we will wait and see. It looks like Matt Gay is going to be out for the Colts. I know for those that don't really give a crap, it's a big deal in some ways. He's their better kicker. They did bring up a kicker for today, so just know that. Josh Downs is going to be inactive as well for the Colts. Getting word, Jalen Ramsey is going to be active today. Keenan Allen is going to be active today. So be aware of that. It looks like Roschon Johnson being out for the Bears today. That is kind of a big deal. I don't know if it's because of health or not. I don't see the label on him, but that's kind of big for Swift. And, guys like Khalil Herbert, that could be something interesting. Looks like John Mechie is a healthy scratch today. He was in a good situation to win wide receiver 4, but he is out. It looks like, as per James Palmer, the expectation is Jamar Chase will be limited today, as he predicted to the reporters. The assumption is in a limited role, it would obviously include, but not exclusive to, situations like red zone and third down. So exactly what I thought it would. That's essentially what he will be. He'll be out there for, big plays if needed. I don't see him being out there to run block. I don't see him to be out there for, short conversions and things like that. So otherwise, like I said, Roshan being out is kind of a big deal. I do see that as a huge thing. So wow, little shocked by that one. Like I said, Keenan Allen's out there. Russell has been declared the third QB today. Won't play unless injuries. Justin Field is starting. So Russell Wilson is active technically, but he is the third QB in this roster, so he won't play unless there's a problem. Like I said, Matt Gay is inactive today. He will not be starting for those that are, with kickers. Hey, I'm going to say it, and I say it all the time. League should have the kicker. I know I'm old school. That's why they call me classic, but honestly, love having the kicker in the lineup. It's always just a nice little change. Tyreek Hill is officially active and will play today despite being detained by police. He's good. I'll watch the tape later. I hope it's not like brutal. I mean, come on. Some of these scenarios, like with Scotty Scheffler and all that. Yeah, I get it. He broke a traffic, he had a traffic infraction. Give him the ticket and move on. You shouldn't be pulling the guy out of the car and handcuffing him. Come on. Yeah, he went through a spot that he might not have, but he was following cars that were going down it. The guy said stop and he didn't. I mean, come on, get over it. So Adrian Peterson goes, with my lineup, I am overthinking it, not having a backup quarterback. Yeah, I honestly try not to overthink your lineups. If you're going to be dropping somebody, drop somebody a little bit lower on the totem pole. Gus, to me, is up there. He's a viable flex option in a lot of scenarios. So I would probably find someone, else on your roster just because honestly, I want to see what happens. I honestly think it's going to be a very interesting backfield. Really interesting backfield. All right. Well, this is weird. Kendrick Lamar is going to be headlining the Super Bowl. Wonderful. Should be fun. I hate these. I hate hearing stuff like that. Russell Wilson, they put him as inactive, but they told me just before that he's the third quarterback. You don't have him in your lineup either way. Get him out. If you have him in, get him out. It's Justin Fields. He will be starting today. Either way, Roman Wilson is also going to be inactive today. He was ruled out on Friday. So just be aware of that as well. Like I said, don't like any of the passing options for the Pittsburgh Steelers at all. And for the reasons I talked about before, the offense doesn't funnel through. The offense doesn't funnel through the wide receivers. It funnels through the running back. That's why I have no problem with guys like Najee. I have no problem with guys like Jalen Warren and, even Pat Freiermuth. So they actually had higher numbers for the tight end than they did for wide receivers, which I found odd because they didn't even use Kyle Pitts the way they should. So in this case, I'm telling you, just try to. I steered far away from the Steelers wide receivers, but they could have good games here and there. But I'm not willing to. I'm not willing to have my blood pressure deal with that type of scenario. All right, boys and girls, we're going to be moving on. I'm going to be doing some. We kind of already broke down all the news that I had overall. I think the only guy that we skipped on is CMC. He's listed as a questionable at this point, but he has said multiple times he will play this week. Jordan Mason is going to be the next guy, but they did say he's going to play. I do think this is going to be a rough matchup for them. I do think the Jets have a decent defense. Their run defense isn't as good as their pass defense, but I do think that it's still going to be I think it's going to be a good matchup. I'm excited to see what the Jets have to bring. Justin Herbert's good to go as well. He was dealing with plantar fasciitis. He's good. DJ Chark was declared out prior to the games. So he's actually on IR at the moment. They do have a 4 o'clock game, so it's just good to know. But Quinton Johnston is gonna be probably the number 2. Joshua Palmer is definitely going to be involved, but Quentin Johnston gets an opportunity to, to shine here. Hopefully he can catch the damn ball. Hopefully he can be involved, and hopefully he, gets a second chance. I see a lot of. I hoped he would do well, but we'll see what happens. All the other guys that I had here, we already brought up. DeAndre Hopkins, he's questionable with his torn MCL that he had in July. He's going to play, but I would expect him to get kind of like what Chase is going to get today. Third down, he's not a burner. Like, he's not a guy that can beat you with his legs. He's a guy that beats you with his hands. He has solid hands. He can do well. That's why they need him there. Basically Will Levis can throw it anywhere and he'll get it. So I see him as a third down or short and goal conversion guy, for TD. Other than that, we got the news about Dak, which is fantastic. Glad to hear that. It maybe it works into right now. They might get looks like Micah Parsons is getting the crap end of the stick, but yeah. Anyway, I kind of saw that coming too. So let me do a quick little read, and then we're going to get into DFS value picks. Make sure you guys check out Underdog. I mean, it is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. We enjoy their best ball draft tournaments. I mean, I'm in like 100 of them, and we live stream them all off season. Best ball leagues are the leagues where you can draft a team, and that's it. Right now, there's no commitment. They will be doing at one point in the season, I think week 6, they do it. They do a second thing of best ball resurgence, I think it's called. Honestly, real fun. If you get an opportunity, check them out. It's not up yet, but check them out. Also, now in season, enjoy your pick 'em contest where you can simply pick higher or lower on player stats like total yards, touchdowns, receptions, targets, all different types of things. So make sure you guys are checking that out as well. Go sign up using the promo code GETRIGHT. And not only will you receive a 50% deposit match, now up to $1,000 in bonus cash, any deposit exceeding $2,000 will be capped at $1,000 in bonus cash. You will also get a special promo for Dak Pick'em today, which is, I think, 0.5 yards. But make sure you guys, there it is right there. So make sure you guys go to Underdog, register now, use promo code GETRIGHT in states where states that Underdog is there. Hopefully they get more in other states. Can't wait. So Too Rich and Bree TV, what's going on, man? Great to have you here. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the show. He goes Zamir White or Tony Pollard. Also in another league, Ford or Moss. Both are full PPR. Okay, cool. So for me, I'm probably going to lean. I think I'm going to lean Zamir White for between Zamir White and Pollard. I do like Pollard today, but I do like White a little bit better against the Chargers. Chargers aren't one of the better, run defenses. Their defense is overall. They're a bunch of older guys compared to young, and they don't show me anything crazy. So I like White here. For the other league that you have, Ford or Moss, both have good matchups against good defenses. I do like Ford a little bit more. There's much less behind him, so I do like him a little bit here. So I'm going to go with White and Ford. Adrian, he goes, who do you consider a sleeper that is sitting in free agency in most leagues? Okay. Give me 1 second. I want to look at things real quick because I want to see how, I want to see a few free agents out there. Some came through for the Patriots, but nothing crazy. Joe Milton, he's just going to be the third quarterback for the Patriots. Nothing crazy here. So let me look in one of my leagues that I have to give you an idea of people I'm going to be looking for. Also, make sure you guys check us out on Monday. We're going to have guys, we're going to have Rasta and Frank go over some actives, or sorry, some waiver wire picks to pick from. So, Too Rich and Bree TV. Yeah, man. Defense is going to be huge for those two games, for the ones that you guys have currently. Um, you know, Pollard, they're going to be involved in the passing game with Spears. I think Pollard will take more of the lead. They say they're going to have a split. I see it more of a 60-40 to me, with Pollard being the lead and then Spears being involved if they get into a negative game script. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. White I like a lot more because he has less behind him. Alexander Madison and Dylan Lobby. I mean, I like Dylan Lobby a lot. He's a hometown kid. I'm always going to root for him. I hope he's very much involved. But I do see White being the lead guy, getting at least 16 to 20 touches, a lot more than what, or not a lot more, but a little bit more than what Pollard would have. Ford, I just see the same scenario with him. Deontay Foreman is the only guy that's even there to take away from him. Well, beyond Pierce, and everybody else that's on that team. But I do like Ford in that particular scenario. So, A-Rock, what's going on, brother? He goes Trevor Lawrence or Jaden Daniels. Okay. So, just to give you a perspective for my rankings, I do have Jaden Daniels ranked 2 spots higher than Trevor, but it's really only because of his legs. Trevor Lawrence doesn't really run the ball. He's more of a passer. And he does take the occasional run if they're, full man coverage down and everyone clears out. But Jaden is a little bit more of a, his floor will be a little bit higher just because of the rushing upside that he has. It is his first game. Those are things that scare me a little bit. I don't like picking rookies right off the bat. I rather go with the tried and true. I do, Trevor has all of his weapons. I think that game is going to be the higher scoring of the game in this case. That game is at 49.5. That's the second highest for this week. I might want to lean T-Law just because that game might be a little bit more of a shootout than the other game, Washington against the Bucks. So I like T-Law just a smidge better, even though I have Jaden Daniels ranked higher. It's really more of the rushing floor for him. Kendall goes, we have Darnell Mooney, Wandale Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, sometimes available. Tolby are my faves at wide receiver. Polk in a few weeks. Oh, okay. He was going back to Adrian's. Yeah, I do like Wandale Robinson a lot. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him, to be quite honest. Another guy I like a lot is Trenton Irwin. Oh, and I think that's Tolbert, what he means. A-Rock, no problem, brother. That's what I'm here for. So, yeah, he brings up Darnell Mooney, Wandale Robinson, Jeudy, Tolbert. I like Trent. I like Trent Irwin. I think you're going to see a situation where he might be one of the more targeted guys in this particular group. He's had more time with Joe Burrow. He's more of a slot guy that can be, he's always closer to the quarterback. So I like Trent Irwin for a good pickup. Another guy that I like is Zacchaeus. He's going to be the wide receiver 2 for the Commanders for the time being, unless you really think that Luke McCaffrey is going to be that guy, which I don't think is going to be the case. I think Zacchaeus is going to be that guy. He beat out Juwan Dotson. So for me, I don't hate that pick. He's more on the lower end of this. Honestly, he's more of a stash. But I like him. Yeah. And the guys that Kendall mentioned right here, I mean, Mooney, Wandale. I like Wandale probably the best out of that group. Not just because I'm a Giants fan, but I do think Danny is more of a check down guy. He likes the intermediate route. So, yeah. Denzel Bardet, what's going on, man? He goes Watson or Geno, Moss or Eckler. All right. Let me know about if it's full PPR or half for this particular question for Moss or Eckler. But for Watson and Geno, I'm probably going to go. I want to lean Geno a little bit. Watson, I just don't trust. At this case, I have Geno 21, Dotson. Or sorry, I have Geno at 21 and Deshaun Watson at 22. You're splitting hairs, but I prefer Geno. I think he'll have a better scenario for him overall. Yeah, I'm gonna go Geno here. Moss or Eckler, I'm probably gonna lean Moss just a smidge more. With Chase being kind of a limited role, I think they're gonna lean on the run game a little bit just to kind of, they're gonna need to run the ball and be effective running it. So I'm gonna go Moss here. Chase is playing, but he is limited. They basically said he's active, but he's going to be in a limited role. A lot of people, like myself, agree it's going to be more of a third down type scenario. Like he'll be in on third downs, or he'll be in on second and long. He'll be in on red zone situations, things like that. I don't see him being like heavily involved, which means for me, you're still playing him, but he's going to be more of a wide receiver 2, like a mid wide receiver 2. Maybe mid high type scenario. I think it might be more mid low. Just because, and especially in formats, like standard format, I have no problem. He'll be low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2. But PPR wise, I think he falls more into the low end of wide receiver 2. So yeah. So he goes, all right, so tell me I'm the unluckiest person in fantasy. It's barely the first Sunday. My tight end got his job stolen and my QB snapped his knee. Fantasy football sucks. Hey, man, that's why we play this sport, man. This is one of my favorite things to do and one of my favorite, just everything I love about it. And yeah, it's very unfortunate for stuff like that. So I'm sorry that all happened. It's hard when we do these things in the off season and then things change once we get to the the better part of the year. That's why you guys got to follow us throughout the year. We're always here in the off season as well. We talk about all these things. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe and make sure you guys follow us too. Adrian Peterson, he goes start one flex. Keenan Allen, Joshua Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Najee Gus, Trent Benson. Okay. Interesting. I might just, if I'm ranking these, I'm probably going to go Keenan, Najee, Gus, Palmer, Curtis, Benson. That's kind of where I'm going with these right now. Keenan Allen is definitely the most talented out of this group. Najee's in a situation that, I think Arthur Smith is going to use him a lot. They have a rough game today against the Falcons. The Falcons defense is very underrated. I've already said it like 4 times. They're going to be a good defense. Gus is right next to him. I think that they're going to just run the damn ball. Yeah. So we'll see. But I do like Keenan Allen here. I think he'll be used and he'll be, probably mid-range wide receiver 2. I think where do I have Keenan in this craziness? I have Keenan at wide receiver 35, which I'm probably a little bit lower than I should be on him. So yeah, just around that low end wide receiver 2 at this point. I got to fix all my rankings now because of all these outs. So many people out. All right. So Kendall goes, Geno's new OC Grubbs pulled for Washington could be electric with play calling, not sleeping on that offense. I like Geno off waivers over Fields all day and definitely over Watson this week. Yep. Yeah, I agree with Kendall a lot. So go play Geno in that particular scenario. All right. So, like I said, I like to do a little bit of DFS value picks. I use FanDuel, so I'll be using their numbers for today. So just be aware of that when we are going through it. First and foremost, we're going to start with the QBs here. If you want to pay up for your particular QB, by all means, do so if you'd like. But I'm going to give you guys some value picks here. Some guys that I like a little bit lower on the totem pole is Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. We got Jared Goff at $7,500 going against his former team, the LA Rams. Then we also have Matthew Stafford going against Detroit Lions, his former team as well. Both at 7,500 and 7,300. I will tell you, if you're playing in tournaments, a lot of people are going to be using those two because of the value. So cash games and, with your buddies and stuff, I would prefer to go with one of these two. Baker Mayfield against the Commanders. I do think this is going to be a good one for him. $7,200 is a great price for him right here. Another one, I know that I've been kind of bashing Caleb, but he's not a bad play today. I think he'll do okay. He's a big risk. So, I wouldn't use him. He's a, break the glass type scenario. If you really want to spend down on QB, you're almost better off going with a guy like Justin Fields, I guess. But it's honestly, I wouldn't do it. I would stick to the three guys that I mentioned before. I'm just showing you value. His rushing floor is the only thing that's going to keep him up. So that's why I even brought him up. I don't like any of the other guys below that. Didn't have any good feelings on those. Next, let's go to the running backs. So we have the high end guys. If you want to pay up on guys, I love Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor at $8,600. Honestly, Texans are a pass funnel defense, so they're not great at stopping the run. They do have a lot of pieces to stop the run. Their defense is scary good. They're another defense like the Falcons that you just sit there and go, holy crap, once you look at their roster. But they focus more on like a pass funnel where they want, if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to run. And Jonathan Taylor has done better than 18 fantasy points every time they face them. So I do like Jonathan Taylor here. If you want to spend down a little bit, one guy that I like is Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker against Denver. I think they're going to do very well today, $7,400. Another guy I like a lot is David Montgomery. I mean, he's $7,000 right now and a steal at his price. I do like him against the Rams. I mean, if you want to go with the injury narrative for Gibbs, honestly, it might be a good 50-50 split, and he could get a lot of the touchdown opportunities when they get to the goal line. So I like him a lot. Another guy I like is Zach Moss today. It's mostly because of the Chase and Higgins news more than anything. So I do like Zach Moss today at $6,900. Dr. Clutch, what's going on, brother? Glad to see you. Glad to have you back on this wonderful week one. Hope you're, having a great Sunday. Next, we got Raheem Mostert, $6,600 going against Jacksonville. This is the second highest over-under of the day. I do like Mostert. He could be good for a touchdown or two. Led the league last year in touchdowns. I know that's going to regress, but against Jacksonville, they're kind of like the Texans in a pass funnel type situation. So I do like them. I do like him a lot. Another guy I like is Devin Singletary going against the Vikings, $6,300. This is a volume play, just strictly volume. I think the only way we're going to beat the Vikings is running the ball to open up the pass. So I do like him in this scenario. You could go with Jerome Ford. I don't like the matchup as much, but he is $6,200. Not a horrible price point. Another guy I like that people aren't really talking about is Chuba Hubbard going against New Orleans. I don't hate this particular offense. I do think that this scenario could work out pretty well. $5,600 is a good price point for him as well. Jaylen Warren at $5,700. I think he's going to have to be involved, and they're going to have to check down a ton. So he's good for that type of price as well. Tajay Spears, $5,400. $5,400 is a steal for him at this point. As I mentioned before, Chicago is right now favored by 4. They might be down, and they're going to have to be a little bit more involved in the passing game. Tajay Spears is definitely going to be the guy that they're going to involve. I like it. Another guy I like is Chase Brown. Another passing option. Another option for Joe Burrow to check down to. I like Chase Brown a lot today in DFS more than I do in regular lineups. But 5,400 can't go wrong. Good option today. Dr. Clutch goes, it's a great day. Caleb Williams plays football today. Hey, man, I'm going to say one thing. Sorry, I gotta clean the throat here. I am hopeful for Caleb Williams. I hope he does well. I honestly, the amount of hype that we have had towards him this whole offseason, I hope he's as good as advertised. I really do. I hope he is a Mahomes-esque first overall pick that can live on for ages. I do. I really do. Unfortunately, history doesn't show that all the time with, first overall picks. Yeah, they can be good. None can be, there haven't been a ton of overall great guys at 101. There have been a bunch that I have, of course. But Caleb, man, the hype is just so high on the guy. It scares me that something might, we're just waiting for the other shoe to fall, But I do like him a little bit. I just think that the Chicago's offensive line is what's going to be the make or break for him. And I hope that they can handle what Tennessee's got to offer. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is good, and he will cause them to panic. So he's a big disruptor in the middle, and they're definitely going to flex him out on some occasions. They have a good pass rush overall. Honestly, it's going to be a rough game, but I do think that with time and a little bit of work with his wide receivers, who they gave him plenty of options, he's in a situation where he can be the only reason why it fails. They gave him everything. They gave him 3 solid wide receivers, middle-aged in football terms, DeAndre Swift. They have decent running backs behind him with Khalil Herbert, who I like a lot. Roschon, who's inactive today. But they have all these good options behind him that can really help him. You got Cole Kmet, and even Gerald Everett is there, which I think people forget about. You have the pieces to succeed. So you're the only one that can, you're the one that's going to have to do what you can to make it work. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what happens. He's kind of like he's the start of, the new age of quarterback for a lot of us. For me, it was guys like Stafford, the guys like Stafford, Goff, and Cousins are kind of falling to the wayside. But he's kind of that new guy that's going to come in and bring that new age quarterback. So we'll wait and see. I'm excited to see what happens today. Believe me, I've been waiting all 200 plus days for this day. So let's move on to wide receiver. We got good old Tyreek Hill, who had some fun this morning. He's $6,900 or $9,600. If you really want to pay up, you can. I wouldn't. You got Jamar Chase, not touching him with the 10-foot pole at $9,100. So let's look at some value picks. Let's go to a wide receiver of Caleb Williams, and that's DJ Moore going against Tennessee today. Tennessee's secondary doesn't scare me. Nobody there scares me. I do like DJ Moore here in this particular scenario, $6,900. If you're spending low, he's a guy to go for. Another guy I like is Malik Neighbors for the Giants. Minnesota doesn't have anybody to scare me on the wide receiver. And I think Patrick Peterson's still there. Maybe. Even if he is, at this point, I think he'll be, I think that Malik Neighbors is going to be heavily targeted. I think his over-under on targets is like 6.5 to 7. So I do like him a little bit today at his price point. Another guy I like is right below him, Terry McLaurin. I do think that Jalen Daniels is going to have to really rely on Terry a lot today, and going against the Bucks, who are they're going to struggle at wide or at corner. I do think that Terry McLaurin could be a good play today. Another guy I like is, where is he? There he is, Chris Godwin. This is highway robbery. He's $5,600. He is one of the lower end guys on this freaking thing, and he's going to be playing in the slot. He's going to be used a lot better. I like him a lot. $5,600. You can't go wrong, man. He's a good value pick. Deontay Johnson right below him, 5,600. He should be the new lead target for Bryce Young. The only downside is he's going to be going against Marshawn Lattimore. So this might be a little bit rough. Oh, God. We got Ronald in the house, and he's going to give me crap about Saquon. Hey, how you liking Saquon on the Eagles? Fantasy-wise, I love it. Fan-wise, I hate it. It was very difficult watching Saquon score 3 touchdowns behind that line. I knew it was going to happen. He's a very talented running back. I don't understand why we paid Daniel Jones. I don't get it. I said it 2 years ago, or I said it a year ago. I'll continue to say it. We should have paid Jones his 5th-year option, give us an extra year on a lower contract, sign Barkley, cut Jones, and grab somebody else. It would have made sense. We could have even, at that point, if we wanted to even draft guys. Now, we tried to climb up in the draft. Yeah, I get it. We didn't get guys like Drake May or, Jaden Daniels or, even Caleb or whatever, which wasn't going to happen in the first place. But we could have grabbed anybody else. It's unfortunate with J.J. McCarthy, but we could have grabbed a guy like him. We could have grabbed a guy like Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix a lot. I think he'll do well in, with Peyton, with Sean Payton. Honestly, it's a little upsetting. So yeah, what he can do behind a, top 5 line is incredible. So enjoy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just saw it with Dak 4-year, 240 million, I think it was. Hey, man, I said it from the start. Everyone, all the Giants fans were huge, like, oh my God, this is such a big contract for Daniel Jones. I'm like, really? It's not. It's not as big as what you might think it will be in 2 years. Because so many guys like Dak and Joe Burrow and Jordan Love and all those guys got monster contracts. Even Justin Herbert and all them got monster contracts. What does it look like now? He's at QB like, I think on the pay scale, he's like QB like 15 or 12 or something like that or lower, which is okay, reasonable. But yeah, it's still high. So I understand it. It's just one of those scenarios that we should have just gave him his 5th-year option. We could have gotten out of that contract without a problem. We could have gotten another year to evaluate and go from there. But of course, we didn't go that route. I do like Singletary a lot, though, so I can't really complain. I think Singletary is a really good running back for the price that you're paying for him. So anyway, back to wide receiver options. One guy I like a lot is Joshua Palmer. We already mentioned against the Raiders, $5,000 here. Good price point for him. So I like him a lot here. The other, of course, I have to mention just because of his price. I mean, I'll mention Jermaine Burton if you want to pay $4,800. I don't think he's the guy to go, though. Then they got Trent. Trent Irwin is at 44. Another guy I like. Good price point. And Andre Yoshivas. He's at 4,300. I will tell you right now, everybody's going to play him. Everybody. He's $4,300. Why wouldn't you? Another guy is Marvin Mims against Seattle. Another guy. Just low end. These are good numbers. Everybody's going to pick them. Just know that. All right. Ronald goes, I think Singletary will be a solid RB2. He is underrated, and you can stretch the field a little bit more now. Yeah, 100%. For me, Singletary, I've always been high on Singletary. He's a very productive back, solid. You always see him stretching a little bit more for that extra yardage. He's always somebody that is, has good burst through. He can run outside. He can run inside. He's very slick, very quick. Good hips, good feet work. I like him. I mean, the guys. Frank Gore found the guy. Frank Gore was the one that told the Bills about him. They were like, and then Dable, of course, coming to us and so on and so forth. I was hoping Singletary came here. I like Singletary a lot. He's going to be a solid option. You saw what he could do with Houston's offense, and their line was a little bit better than the Giants, but I do think the Giants did a good job this offseason building that offensive line. As long as they can stay healthy at the line, I think they're going to do just fine. I really do. I hope they run the ball and use the, play action to pass. Like, that's what they're going to have to do. So we'll wait and see. Let's go to tight end options for DFS. Of course, you got guys like Sam Laporta at the top. I'm not going to really touch guys like that or Dalton Kincaid or Trey McBride. A little high on the price point. But once you get off of Sam Laporta, Kincaid isn't a horrible price at $6,800. But I'm going to go a little bit lower to Evan Ingram. I like his price a lot, $6,200. Like I mentioned before, this is going to be the second highest over/under in right now. So that's a good price for him. And he's the best option in the group of tight ends. If you want to go for one, I do think he is the option. Next for me, if you want to pay down a little bit, is Caden Nodden, $5,200 going against Washington. I think this is a good matchup for him to do well. Another guy I like a lot that's been a hidden gem for me. I like Noah Fant. Noah Fant at $5,000 going against Denver. I think this is a really good matchup. Justin Simmons ain't there no more. They don't really have anybody in the secondary that can really run with him, and I do think that this particular offense will run through the tight end more than people think it will. So I do like Noah Fant a lot here. Another guy I like a lot is Mike Gesicki at $4,900. Chase is going to be limited, like we said. I do think that Mike Gesicki is a little bit more involved than what people might think he is. He is more of a out wide tight end than he is an in. I think they're going to use Tanner Hudson a lot more on the inside to block with who's the other guy? Well, Drew got hurt, so I forgot the other guy. But I think they're going to use it. Well, they have their rookie, but I think he got hurt too. But anyway, I would be going with Mike Gesicki here. He's not a bad choice. Another guy I like a lot is Colby Parkinson. $4,700 in the Rams game. He is the lead tight end for the Rams. This is the highest over/under at 52. Not a bad play for him today. You saw what Tyler Higbee did. He can be just as much involved. I do think they're going to involve Dennis Allen as well. But I do think he's going to get his first opportunity over everybody else. And last but not least, a guy a little bit lower on the totem pole, and a rookie. I do think I'm going to butcher the name, Travion Sanders for the Panthers might be a really good sneaky tight end pick if you want to spend down. Honestly, they lost Tremble. They lost Ian Thomas. He's got to step up now as the tight end. He's the bigger of the group. You saw Bryce Young use the tight end a little bit more near the end of the season. So I really do like him today. I think he could be very useful. I like other guys like Ben Sennett, of course, but I want to wait and see how his production goes. Theo Johnson might not be a horrible play for the Giants as well. He does have a little bit of a rougher situation today going against Harrison Smith and/or Cam Byron. So for me, I'm a little bit lower on Theo, but his price point is where I don't mind. If you want to spend up on other guys and you want to spend down, Theo might be your guy. The other guy I really, really like today is Josh Oliver. I like him a lot. $4,300 going against my Giants, who are horrible against the tight end. And I believe Josh Oliver is the number one tight end for the Minnesota Vikings for the distant future. I mean, honestly, I know that Hawk is going to take over, but I think until then, I think at least for the next 8 weeks, you're going to see Josh Oliver as the number one guy. I don't think it's Munt. I think it's Josh Oliver. I'm going to call it now. Josh Oliver. All right. Let's move on to defenses. Last but not least, there's a lot of good defenses that we could go with. They have Tampa Bay up here going against the rookie, and Cincinnati going against guys like Jacoby Brissett and things like that. I'm going to go a little bit lower down the totem pole. And like I said, you got my Giants going against Sam Darnold. Now, this isn't a homer pick. This isn't one of those like, oh, the Giants are great. No. Let's just be fair. It's because of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has like 30, I think in his career, over 33 interceptions. And it's what he does. He can make mistakes. And I do think that at this point, the Giants can take advantage of that. I think their pass rush is better than what people think it might be. And I think he's going to have to make a mistake. For the price point at $3,800, I like it. Other defense that I like a lot, I've been just fucking hammering it in today with the good old Atlanta Falcons going against Justin Fields. This defense is stacked. Gary Jarrett in the middle, Matt Judon on the outside, solid linebacking core with a wonderful secondary. AJ Tyrell on the outside, Conquay, I can never say it, Jeff Akunde, I can never get his name right. He's on the other side. Justin Simmons with Jesse Bates. I mean, Jesus, what can you? It's going to be a hard day. It's going to be a really tough day for Justin Fields. I do like Atlanta a lot here, and especially at their price point. Ronald says go with Seattle. I don't mind Seattle. I really don't, but with their price point at $4,400, I'd rather grab the other guys. Yeah, I get it. They're going against a team like, they're going against a guy like Bo Nix, who's a rookie. But I think I'm telling you now. I wanted to call this all off season. I do think Bo Nix has a better season than what people think he might. I don't think he's going to be up there with the, Caleb Williams or anything like that, but I do think he's going to have a really solid season. It's just a feeling. He 5 years in college, played in pro systems, did well in those systems, and I think it changed all 5 years, and he did well in all those particular scenarios. Has good ball, like a good ball, real solid throw, real good arm. Yeah. So what do you mean by not first game? I mean, this is his first pro game, first overall. He's had enough experience that I think he has more experience than the other guys that are coming in, and he's more pro ready than the other guys. I just think he's just ready. And if that's what you mean, then I agree. I definitely agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be wrapping this up. Unless you have other questions, please make sure to throw them in the chat. I'm going to wrap this up as soon as I can. I'm going to do a couple other reads to make sure you guys are checking out some of our other, people. Of course, we got Phil and Kendall. Make sure you guys are checking out Kendall on the Fantasy Football Tavern, as well as Phil at the Extra Point. You're going to be seeing both of them all the time on Get Right. So make sure you guys are checking them out as well. Also, make sure you guys keep an eye out for Zach and Cody with the Sweet Life Football. They're going to be on Saturdays in the near to distant future. So make sure you guys are checking that out as well. I mean, you got so many things coming up. Really excited to have this season going. Ronald goes, he will be good. Not in his first game. Remember Romo's first game. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Yeah, maybe not his first game, but I think he should do well moving forward. So he goes, what do you think about Pickens? I don't like Pickens at all. Since you're a little bit late to the party, I will explain why. You bring in a guy like Arthur Smith, and I'm not going on the context of his system that he used in Atlanta and how he ran things over there. That's not the reason why I hate it. I hate it more because his system doesn't involve the wide receiver. They were 31st, I think it was 32nd in targets to the wide receiver. That's okay. So you would think that they would bring in a QB that is good at, or had a high target share, 2 wide receivers, and would pass the ball to them, right? Oh no, they brought in Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, who were 31 and 30th to passing to the wide receiver. They were number 1 in targets to running backs and to tight end. Well, not one, but they were, in the high. Well, for running backs, they were in the top 5. In the tight end, they were top 10. To me, that shows that they're going to be in the short intermediate routes a lot. They're not going to be deep ball. They're not going to have anything like that. I don't think George Pickens is the guy that can do that. George Pickens is more of a 9-round guy, 9-route guy that can go downfield and get it for you. He's definitely a contested catch guy. Not going to lie. He's very talented, very good at, catching the ball. Reminds me a lot of, what OBJ was and how he, could catch it and just so, dynamic. To me, I don't like any of the passing options there. I want to avoid them at all costs, but I do like Patrick Freiermuth. But it's because of the system that Arthur Smith runs. He runs a system that goes through the running back and goes through the tight end. We didn't see it a lot with Kyle Pitts, but in this case, I don't trust any ball. Like, I don't trust any ball that is going to be thrown by one of these two guys to be anything better than in the short and intermediate route anyway. So if George Pickens is the guy that goes deep and clears things out for everything underneath, yeah, he might be all cardio. Of course he's going to be involved. He's the number 1 receiver on the team, but I just don't see him being what people think he should be. I think he finishes low end wide receiver 2, maybe a high end wide receiver 3 each week. And that's just because that's my view on him, but it's also everything else. I do think Patrick Freiermuth is involved a lot more. You might even see a little bit more. I might even see more like Van Jefferson being involved because they're going to be more in the clear out, on the underneath route than someone like Pickens. I just don't see Pickens as a guy that's a possession guy. He doesn't seem like that type of wide receiver. He just seems like the guy that goes out to the edge, and that's what he is. Could he get the occasional slant and, go? Yeah, probably. He's fast. He's quick. But I just don't see it with this particular, QB room and offensive coordinator. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. He goes, might turn into a glorified tight end. Nah, he's not that big compared to a tight end, but yeah, I get what you mean. So I'm going to start wrapping things up. Make sure, like I said before, you guys check out Underdog. Right now, promo code Get Right. Make sure you guys do. They will cover up to half of what you put down. You put in 10, they're going to give you 20. Wait, no, they're going to give you 5. Sorry. If you give them 10, they're going to give you 5. If you give them 20, they're going to give you 10. They're going to do all the way up to a $2,000. So make sure or up to $1,000. So make sure you guys do that. They cap it there. Otherwise, also make sure you guys check out Trophy Smack. I know we already kind of got past the point of getting all your particular trophies, but hey, there's always next year, always, this year, of course. Make sure you guys check out Trophy Smack. They got great trophies like this one. You can get a Kirk Cousins chain. Of course, if Rasta was here, he would show you his particular ring, which is cool. And of course, their belt. So make sure you guys check out TrophySmack.com. Use promo code GetRight when you check out. Like I said, also keep an eye out for Phil and Kendall. They're going to be all over this, all over the channel. We're going to have Kendall with me on Fridays, and Phil's going to have his stuff going on as well on Thursday, and with Rasta on Friday. So make sure you guys are checking out the show. Really excited. Our new lineups underneath. Like I said, we're going to be here 6 days a week and 7 once Cody and Zach get going. So keep an eye out for all our stuff. We're going to be back here tomorrow. We're going to have our waivers our waiver show, overreaction show. So we'll tell you what waiver ads to add after this week, overreactions to the week. Check it out. It's going to be fun. So hope everyone has a wonderful week 1. Good luck in all your matchups except against me. And I hope everybody has a great day. So for all my guys here at Get Right Fantasy, to Rasta, Frank, Dustin, Kendall, Phil, Tycoon, the whole crew, hope everyone has a wonderful week 1. We'll see you later.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tuned it